The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.
Welcome back to Home Field Advantage, a very special day. We are recording the show here on Valentine's Day, 2025. She's Teresa, you're wearing your red. Teresa Autrey in the red, looking fantastic.
My favorite color.
Is it your favorite color for Valentine's Day? 294-4210, 294-4210.
I figured why not?
Of course.
Spread the love.
There you go. She is with Keller Williams. Before we jump into the house market, real estate, all the wonderful things you do for over 3 decades, you got any big plans for Valentine's Day? People always ask me, and they know I was married, now I'm divorced, and now I got absolutely nothing going on, and I tell them, it's not so bad. It's not bad being single on Valentine's Day.
You'll probably laugh at this, but I reached out to all the widowers that I know, the widows, the recently divorced people, and I just told them that, that I loved them. I hope they had a really good day today, and that, I have watched a great thing last night by Neville Gooder, and it was Why God May Want You to Be Alone During This Season. And it was very inspirational about some different things you can focus on while you are in a season of being alone.
Oh, I like that. That's good. You
can always bring a smile to someone's face.
Yeah,
whether they're divorced or widowed or widower or maybe not married at all.
Yeah, we always talk about, Valentine's Day is really important in relationships because it opens an opportunity for you to do something a little extra for whoever you're with. And a lot of people are like, it's Valentine's Day. We've been together for 25 years. We don't do anything. Well, I'm just telling you, whenever there's an opportunity to do something special for your mate, and it's sitting right there in front of your face, and you don't take advantage of that, that's on you. And so Valentine's Day is certainly one of those days. You don't have to go out and spend thousands of dollars or do anything really special, but you should do a little something extra special for Valentine's Day. And I think that's, and most of the clients I have on a radio station, including Woodhouse Day Spa, and a lot of the other people, they certainly great ways to go.
Is the show censored?
What's that?
Is the show censored? Will we get in trouble if we say something bad? Okay. No,
not unless you wanted to. No, nothing censored on Tony Kurre Radio.
I've been single a long time, and I was thinking about this morning, and I see it from both perspectives. So women, thank your mate. Thank your mate. Mm-hmm. Thank them. Just be in some gratitude about the things that made you fall in love with them. Give them the extra booty call this morning. Send them off into the world with a brave, beautiful smile on their face. And then take a little extra time to do something nice for your wife. It don't have to be money at all. An extra, write a poem, write a note. Just show her you appreciate her. And, husbands do the same thing. And I just think that if everybody kissed each other romantically every morning and had a little, stuff going on, then I-65 will never have stopped up traffic. Promise you.
Oh, I think that's fantastic. It's great, and we that's why we have to schedule dating nights. It's life is crazy. We get kids.
I think it's very healthy.
It really is. It's very, very important, and I
encourage people to have a date night, whether you're married 1 year or 55 years. Take a day for yourself and your mate, minus your children, because eventually those kids are going to get up and go on and move on and. So. And
I love your start the day with a passionate kiss. It's amazing to me how many people I see that don't kiss. I'm a very touchy person. If I was within arm's reach of my ex, I would hold her hand. She wasn't really into that a whole lot. But I was always wanting to touch her, and I've always been that way. And I'm a hugger, that. And we've been friends for a long period of time. And it's amazing to me whenever I see a couple depart for the evening.Maybe he's leaving or she's going, and they just say goodnight. They don't kiss each other. That's weird to me. That people don't kiss each other when they leave each other. I've just always done that. So kissing passion. I'm not saying make out in front of your friends, a PDA, but I think that's important. But
what a way to send somebody off to work,
Yeah, no, it's great. And I realize sometimes in the morning it's hard because there are kids around. But the thing you just brought up that I think is really interesting, and I will speak for every man out there. Men want to be validated. I'm a man, and I can tell you this for 110%, we want to be validated. And the reason we buy gifts, the reason we buy how to make love books, why we try to be better at things is so we can make you happy and so we can validate our existence. That's why we love being the breadwinners and going out and providing for our families. We like to take you on vacations.
And let the man be the man.
And we love that. Let the man be the man.
Let the man be the man.
We appreciate that. And I will tell you, more times than ever, man, all I wanted to do was be appreciated. If a woman looks at you in the eye and says, I really appreciate what you do for our family and I love you for it and we thank you, then that's it. That's all I needed to hear. That's it. So for women out there, like, I don't know what to do with it, just look him deep in the eye and say, honey, I really appreciate everything you do for our family. Thank you for working hard and thank you for all the things you do. And he'll love that. And hopefully he'll buy you a new car for Valentine's Day. All right, let's talk about, speaking of buying things, maybe buy a house for somebody for Valentine's Day. You obviously wanted to cross over a little bit into the lovey-dovey. And I was thinking the other day, because everyone's got their own ways of setting things up, and we all have our own superstitions. I have my special little routine I go through before I do my show that I'm not going to share with you. It's something special I do. Sometimes I say a prayer before I get in the car. I know there's special things for you to do in the housing market. I was wondering, because I know several other people that do what you do, and it seems like they always have some type of protocol or routine they start their mornings with when they do house selling or real estate. And I was wondering if there's anything that you do, and this can kind of go along with relationships, because it's about the small things, right? It's about the small things in life that we do that really are the things that people notice. Are there some things that you do?
Do you mean like when I start my day before I take a client out? Or
just the small things that perhaps people don't really recognize. We'll start there, and then we'll talk about the things you do to your homes.
Well, what's funny is to make it a good day, I start the day before, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Preparation. Make sure you're prepared. If you can, map out. If you're showing houses, map it out so it makes some sense. Study your traffic routines, figure out where you're going when, make sure you got all the codes and all the information.
Oh, now that's a good idea. Stop right there. Stop. This is going to be hard because I'm going to interrupt you a few times, and I know you like to talk, but you're going to but I have to stop because we'll start right there. Mapping out a house. You know how a house lies out. You know how many square footage is. You go back and look at our last show you did last week. It was fantastic. We actually did a showing on the show last week on Home Field Advantage. It was fantastic. I got so many emails. People were saying, this is really cool. She should do this every week. And I'm like, she does this every week. It's fantastic on the Tony Kurre Radio Network. But when you're looking at a house and you're wanting to map a house, you're walking in the front door, or are you walking in the front door? Are there some houses that you would walk in the back door? What's most important to you? Do you like to start off small and get to the big stuff? Do you like to start off big with the small stuff? Do you like to find the little things first, or do you like to give them the wow and walk into the grand room? How do you do it when you're showing a house?
You're going to find it ironic, but it's going to depend on the personality of the client.
Okay.
I mean, it's that simple, because I have one client, they were multimillionaires, but the most humble people in the world. And they said, Teresa, we entertain a lot of the inner city youth. We want a house that looks very small on the outside, but gargantuous on the inside.
Okay.
And I said, okay. Well, there were so many bedrooms in the house, I had to take sticky notes and label the doors.
Wow.
Okay? Because I got confused the first time. It had like 2 kitchens, 3 laundry rooms, gigantic, but to look at it from the outside, it looked like 4,000 or 5,000 square feet. It was over 10,000 square feet.
Wow.
Because it was built on the side of a cliff, so it didn't look that big.
Yeah.
The other things that I do is if I know the property, like if it's my own personal listing, I will do, you guys, I'm OCD to the very, very strangest parts. So my day, I make sure I have my coffee. I make sure I have my ice. I make sure I have my little snack because, blood sugar and stuff like that. So I keep something in my car. Like I said, be prepared the day before. Make sure you got your gas. You've mapped it out. Now, when you go to the house, if you've had a chance and it's your listing, then by all means, make sure you know how to walk through it to present it in the best light.
Okay, what do you mean?
That means have all the window curtains open. Have all the blinds open so all that natural light can shine in. Turn on all the lights in the house. You're going to find this crazy, but say the house is empty. I always put like anything above 250, we try to stage because, it's hard. Like that house was only 365, but it's hard to see yourself in the house if it's just big, massive rooms.
Yeah.
So sometimes I make sure, you're going to laugh, but I make sure there's waters in the house somewhere in case it's new construction or if it's a resale and it's vacant. Toilet paper in all the bathrooms, wipes in all the bathrooms, and paper towels in the house somewhere.
Very good, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Then the other thing is you're going to make sure that the walkways and the decks are swept off. There's not going to be a big pile of leaves, or you're going to make sure that there's no cobwebs or anything like that, kind of get there 15 to 20 minutes early, spruce it up a little bit. If it's stale, open the doors and let it air out. Just little minor things. I always keep a little minor cleaning thing in my car to have to wipe off counters or wipe down mirrors, anything that you would have to do. Make sure that the entrance, no matter where you take them in.
Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something that's really interesting? Because I've bought 8 houses. I don't like it when the person showing me the house seems to be surprised by what they see in the house they're showing me. I've seen that before, and it happened to the last house I sold, or the last house I went to look at. The real estate agent was like, there was a piece of paper on the thing, and she picked it up and stuffed it in her pocket, and there was a key, and she's like, gee, I wonder what this is. And I'm like, is this your house, right? I mean, you're the one that's showing this house. Why don't you know? It was like there were some things that she was looking around to make sure they were done. And most people, if you get there 15, 20 minutes early, you should probably get there 30 minutes early, because whenever I go to look at a house, I always get there early because I want to case the place first. I want to look at it first without my agent there, so I like to get out, walk around, look at the neighborhood, drive around the neighborhood a little bit. So continue, go on.
Well, that's going to tie us into kind of like, how do you know if you're in love with the house or not? Number one, I do want to say, for some agents, I never show more than 8 in a day.
Okay.
Never, not to the same client. Because the problem is they're not going to remember it. They're going to get confused. And I don't show at nighttime, because 100% of the time they're going to want to see it during the daylight.
Yeah.
The end. Mm-hmm. So save your energy, save your strength, and save your memory. So that's what I also say. That's another thing, just by preparing. The other thing is, I get there a little early to make sure that there's nothing encumbering it. Mm-hmm. Like maybe a limb fell in the nighttime and nobody saw it. We're in that stormy season.
Yeah.
Maybe I have one house that went live on Friday, and there was a tree limb across driveway the next day. Oh, wow. And I'm over there just tying the tree limb up to my Subaru and dragging it up a hill, because what do you do at that point?
Yeah.
You do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, be prepared for everything. And that's why I thought today we could talk about maybe, I have tomorrow another agent call me, and she's showing one of my houses, and I stage it with nice, clean furniture. Don't go in there with dirty, old furniture. Don't go in there with anything that is less than nice, because first impressions are the best impressions.
Now, is that something new? Because I've never been in a staged home before. I've been in homes that were model homes that had furniture, yes. but I've never been in a home that was that's always been empty. And I always thought that people like that, because it does look a lot bigger when it's empty.
Well, it's a twofold thing. And that's part of what I was going to get into, like the 10 signs of how you know you're in love with a home.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
I'll use an example, a real life example I had. She was 51 years old. She was from Aspen, Colorado. She had never owned a house. Wow. It was very expensive there. She lived in apartments her whole life. She finally marries. The man and her moved to Alabama, and they're able to buy a $500,000 house with cash. Mm-hmm. And I showed her 7 houses. In the morning, we started at 9 in the morning. By around 12:30, we were done with all but one on the other side of town. Wow. So 7 were on one side of town. We go to lunch, because you do need to take a break. You do need to feed them. Mm-hmm. Then also, I ask my clients to follow me, because they need to learn the traffic patterns. They need to learn how is it going to get to that place.
Very nice.
The worst I've had is first-time home buyers thinking, oh, it says 15 minutes on Google and 16 miles. I'm like, honey, it's going to take you an hour 15 to get from Center Point to Oak Mountain. No, ma'am. Yeah. No, that's not a 15-minute drive. You might say 15 miles, but it's not 15 minutes. Yeah. And but she asked me at lunch, and I will never forget this, probably one of the best learning opportunities I've had in my career. She said, how will I know? I thought, oh my gosh, how do you put that into words?
Big question, yeah.
And I sat there for a minute, and I said, let me ask you, you were in your late 40s when you met him, right? She said, yeah. I said, how did you know? She said, I felt it. I said, okay. The best I can describe this to you is it's like falling in love for the first time. Mm. I said, you're going to know it when you see it. Yeah. And there's no mistaking it. There's no faking it.
And see, I love this.
Everything else is going to fall away, and you're not even going to remember the other houses you saw.
I love this, because if you have somebody that has to look at a house 3 and 4 times, do they ever buy? Do they? I mean, no, because I know that I don't. To me, it's got to. Now, it depends on your situation, how close it is to the schools. Do you need to be in something by the end of the month? But if you've got the time and you got the cash, and you know exactly what you want, and you have to go back and look at a place 3 or 4 times, then that's probably not the house I want to live in, right?
Well, I will tell you that the first one is when the number one, most people would say it's price, but it's actually not. It's not. You feel that instant connection. You're already have a sense of familiarity. When I walk in the front door, if my clients are jetting off into each direction, I know that there's high peak interest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, they start to, what's in here? What's in here? And they're opening doors and, they're like all amazed. Then if they're asking me questions, I have driven up to some houses and people, I don't want to get out the car and we just drive on.
Okay.
Because the thing is, you said it earlier, was the positive neighborhood vibe. That was number 2. And if you drive up to a house and maybe the neighborhood, you love it, but the house is not it, you're going to keep going.
Yeah.
Or if you drive up to the house and it's perfect, but the neighborhood is not so, you got to remember you're living by these people.
Yeah. Have you ever showed a house in a neighborhood and just in that particular day, like a neighbor was doing something horrible? Like you're like, oh, not today. Why are you making a bonfire out in your front yard? I'm about ready to show this house.
Well, how about this? I had a mail order, MAIL, ordered Russian bride over in one of my subdivisions, and she pulled the treadmill out of her garage while her soon-to-be American husband was at work and was running on it in a bikini when my construction workers were building a whole strip of house. Every hammer on the street went silent. And I was like, what is the problem? It's so quiet. Quietness is not good when you're building away. Yeah. Had to have a little discussion.
That's funny. Yeah, she knew exactly what she was doing. Okay, what else? What are some other things?
So the next one is when you start to visualize not just your furniture, but your lifestyle. And say, if your parents, you can see your kids sitting there and you're getting them ready to go to work or school or whatever, or if you're a single person and you can see yourself getting out and jetting out of that driveway and headed to work and headed in, it's your sanctuary. So when you start to visualize your life in there, like you're already putting, if you're a back porch coffee person, you're already back there, got your swing set up. You already know I'm going to be out there sipping my coffee. If you already know you're going to watch your kids play in the backyard, if you already know the laundry room, you're going to be fine because it's right by the kitchen, because you can overlook that backyard in either room and see the kids and the dog and everything. Or if you know that it's low maintenance because you travel 300 days a year, it's like very conducive to your lifestyle. And then you're going to start to place your furniture. I'll put my bed over on that wall. Mm-hmm. I know it's done at that point. You start placing beds, we're done. You're sleeping in this house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The other thing is every house has got a little unique charm. And so like if I have a house and I try to find one good focal point about that house, usually there's multiple, but I find one, whether it's a downstairs basement entertainment room, whether it's a gorgeous kitchen. Where
you did this with the shower at the other house. When I went and saw that house, I noticed that right off the bat. Because you were like, oh, and you were telling me out in the parking lot, oh, there's something about this house you're going to absolutely love.
And you know what? How small was that shower compared to the rest of that whole floor of that house?
You're like, you're going to do something. And you had me peaked. You had me wondering what it was the entire time we were walking through because I knew there was something really big coming. Yeah, that was great. That was super. That was good.
It's like one that I'm closing next week. I love this. Underneath the counter, they have pull-out drawers. You don't find that in houses under $250, but this is $230. The drawers pull out. And you can stack stuff on the shelf and push it right back in.
Nice.
I mean, that's a unique feature, Or I used to have a house and it had a double oven look, but it was a microwave up here and an oven down here.
Oh, okay.
But it looked like a double oven.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. That's good.
Because you just find something unique about it. In historic homes, I love the old wood, just the flares and the uniqueness of it. With new construction, you can find something of a new house. I love setting areas, like setting bay windows and stuff of that nature, where you can just think, You can be in the atmosphere and shut the rest of the world out and just kind of sort of thing. The other thing is positive vibes in the neighborhood. We were talking about HOA at the open house Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You guys said, I've been president of HOAs and I love them. I never had a problem. And I was like, good for you, buddy. Well, come to find out, he lived in a neighborhood 30 years old that had very lenient HOAs. And I was like, you know what? I would love that. Sorry, the dog is barking.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
And so, however, if you want someone say that they are a fitness person, no matter the age, and they want a pool, they want a fitness center, they want a community, they want, walking every day, they want to socialize. You need to find out if that's the neighborhood that's got the bridge clubs, the canasta, the golf communities. And if it don't, sometimes it's not for them. You need to find out if they want a house with land out in the country or if they want something closer into the city. So it's very house specific. But then also, you're going to check for the safety and security, obviously. You want your family safe and you want your home safe when you're not there, no matter whether you're single and traveling or not. If you're in a townhome, be good friends with your neighbors, because if something bursts, a pipe, and you're out of town, it's going to flood yours and their house.
Real quick, is it best to go ahead and invest in a security system before you sell your house to put it on the market, or just let them pick their own out?
Well, it determines. I always say don't put a nickel in unless you get a dime return.
Yeah.
And that means people are so sensitive. Some people are very, right now I have a young lady. She did not want hardwired smoke detectors because you can operate so much from wireless. Mm-hmm. But old school houses have hardwired smoke detectors. Yep. So do you see what I mean? It's like, are they tech savvy? Are they more of the Wi-Fi? Do they want their aesthetics disturbed with some wired up security system?
Gotcha.
So I often say, give them a budget or let them pick. The other thing is you want to, in my opinion, if I have a house, I want to create an experience. Does that make sense? Like when I have my open house, we had beautiful desserts, we had some hot food, and we were open the door, welcoming them, having them in, touring them. And there was another agent there. There was a mortgage person there, so they could ask about numbers if they wanted to. One person was downstairs, one person was upstairs. You know what I mean? So you can tire yourself out real easily. Also, I often think about a focal point of where you're going to have the conversation. So if they're asking questions, then what you're going to do is when they're saying like, oh, Miss Teresa, tell me about the generator. Mm-hmm. Well, you take them to the back of the deck. You say, look over the deck. Do you see that right there? That powers the whole house. It's under your deck. It's behind the fence. No one's going to see it. No one's going to steal it. Things like that, or if it's a pool.
When I started my business, if you listen to back when we first started 4 years ago, I would say it's not an event. It's not a song. It's an experience. Everything was an experience because I wanted people to feel the music. I wanted them to feel the vibe I was doing. So I totally get what you're saying here. I love that.
And what I also do is I do like a theme type thing. Like in the springtime, I'll do very colorful desserts like that have the pastel colors and colorful lemonade maybe and grapefruit juice or all the different colors of fruit punches. And I'll do all that. And then if it's in the fall, we'll make sure that, you've got certain coffee. I've done a coffee bar before where I had the whole coffee bar set up. Nice. It was really cold in January. Kid you not, I had hot chocolate, I had hot tea, I had hot coffee, I had cappuccino, I had espresso. We had everything. Sold the house that day, 17 degrees, but we sold it.
There you go.
And it's like, so make sure that it's an experience that they can say, hey, if you're going to take your time to do it right.
Yeah.
It's only a little bit more money and a little bit more effort. And I promise you feel better about yourself. Mm-hmm. And the client knows, hey, she cares. The next thing is, okay, let's see. Reluctancy to leave. When they start sitting down or they done lock their car and put their purse on the counter and they're taking pictures and they're calling dad or calling mom and calling their husband, bam, you just be quiet. And I know you don't think I can do that. But I was thinking yesterday, you just be quiet.
Yeah.
And at that point, you just become a data information giver. Is it on septic or sewer? Is it got power? What kind of heating system? What kind of cooling system? When was it installed? When was this done? You just then give them information and data. Let them ask every question in the world twice, cite your sources, follow it up with the email. The other thing is, if they are calling and making plans, be quiet and let them do it. The end. Because now they have found their house.
Yeah.
If the woman, and I'll tell you, the 51-year-old, when we got to the 8th house after this lunch, right? We pull up. We're not in the house. We pull up. It had a carriage-style garage, 2 nice white columns, an arch. She said, we walk up to the door, and when I go to open the door, her eyes locked in that room. She said, this is my house. Never stepped across the threshold.
Wow. Why?
Never stepped across the threshold.
Why did she say that?
Because it was her house. We closed it 6 days later. It was a cash deal.
That's
She
awesome.
had sold the other 7 houses, because I tell people, give me your wish list.
Yeah.
Now, if we get 95%, that's really great.
Yeah.
But you know what? No house is built perfect. And she knew it was a main level. It was side entry garage. It was 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. It had a nice dining area. It was in gray stone. It was not at the country club side, so she didn't have those kind of fees. It was across the street, but it was perfect for her and her husband.
Yeah.
It was her house, and they still live there to this day.
That's
so
exciting.
It's one of those things that, the other one is when they come in and they start wanting to personalize the plans. Like if they're building new construction, they're like, well, can I add just 2 feet over here? Can I get a deck off the bedroom?
By the way, is that a problem? Is that usually an issue? I mean, if they have floors.
Well, this is what's funny is when people say, oh, it's going to cost that much. I'm going like, you want 2 feet down the whole house, right? You don't want just 2 feet on this 8-foot section, right?
Yeah.
So that adds 400 feet to your house. So yeah, it's going to cost a little money, but we can adjust that out. And that's one of the best things in new construction is letting them sit down and play with the plans a little bit.
Yeah.
I always tell the surveyors and the engineers, get your Etch-a-Sketch out.
Yeah.
And get the highlighters and just kind of start to personalize things. And the other thing is when at the same times that they're doing that, they're checking the neighborhood. You've already done those items. You've already ensured it met their basic criteria for school, CD, price. You've already done that.
Yeah.
So, we've got those criteria. Now we're down to, do you love it? Do you hate it? It's okay. It's your money. We'll spend it any way you want.
Yeah.
Yesterday, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because it used to be, and I think it'll be like this again. It's amazing because there were 3 houses on my street last week that were for sale, and all 3 of them are under contract today. And so I was like, I mean, it's moving so fast. So is there a little bit sense of urgency when people look at a house? How do they deal with if they got 4 more houses they want to go see, but they don't want to make a decision like right now because they got things that, how will you hold on to them houses? What do you do?
Well, all you can do is make them aware of laws and the rules and regulation. And that is until you have a signed contract that's on the market.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
And my daughter taught me about FOMO, the fear of missing out. Mm-hmm. And it's when someone can't make a decision because they're afraid the next thing is going to be the best thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if this makes everything on your list, then what else do you want?
Exactly.
And then you have to get to the kind of the quote unquote pain of the situation. And the other thing that they do, and I can tell this very quickly, if they're moving from another region, and it does not matter if it's Abu Dhabi, Italy, California, Canada, New York, it don't matter. If they're like, well, they didn't do this like this up there, or they didn't do this like this over here, that's not the house for them. Let's just go on.
Yeah.
Don't even waste your time. But if they're saying, you know what, I really like this staircase that don't go straight up, because a lot of the northern houses have masters on the second level.
Uh-huh.
So they can say, oh, I love the master downstairs. And guess what? It's got a staircase and then it turns, you got a landing. That's perfect, and they will start to say positive features, like, oh, look at all this office space. And it's like, that's not an office, but they've made it one in their head.
Sure,
so you go with it. The other thing is if they're saying stuff like, oh, I've got curb and gutter, or, oh, I'm going to walk my dog out here. Let them. It's their house.
Yeah.
So don't be like negative Nancy. You're like, I wouldn't have a dog. Okay. Not your business.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is sometimes they do lose a house. And it's like, oh my gosh, how do we get this ship back going in the right direction? You just have to let them know that I hate that you missed that. And it could be there. It could be any reason. Let's just leave it there. The house, maybe the life changed of the seller and they took the house off the market, or maybe they found there was a problem. They weren't corrected. I mean, it could be a multitude of that. Hurricane came through, fire came through, anything. Then you just have to say, okay, well, now we know much closer at what we're looking at. So why don't we try to find something that's close to that architect style?
There you go.
And I wanted to kind of share one thing. The next thing is the excitement and anticipation. And that's like when they start wanting to share this, like, oh my gosh, can we go ahead and have the offer now? And what do we offer? And how does this work? And oh my goodness, I don't want to let this one get away. Then you know that, okay, you've made a good day of it. You've helped someone find their dream home, and leave the rest to God and put the deal together and just move on. And what's funny is people think I talk a lot, but I listen a lot too.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's more about what people don't say than what they do say. So yesterday I'm in like a 2-hour meeting. I said 3 sentences in 2 hours.
No way.
There were all 3 questions that my client wanted me to ask.
No way. It's impossible.
And the guy was sitting there going, Teresa, aren't you going to talk? I said, I'm just listening. I just want to make sure I understand everything. He was floored. He's known me for 28 years. He's never seen me do that.
That's great.
I asked 3 questions in this 2-hour meeting. We come out of the meeting. We get in the elevator. We leave. He said, you didn't even speak. I said, I knew everything I needed to know by the time we were in there 10 minutes. I knew. Well, we leave, and he calls me last night. He said, that guy said you were pushy. I said, no. He said I was pushy because I asked the question that you guys didn't ask. The tie-down questions.
There you go.
Why are you doing this? You and I both know you don't need 4 months. Why are you asking for 4 months?
Yeah.
And then they tell you the real intention. And, you know, like you get to the bottom of things real quick. And it was a shocker because he was like, you were not pushy. You hardly even spoke. And I said, I know. You should have filmed it. No one's ever going to believe you if you tell that story.
Yeah, that's great. Hey, Teresa, great stuff. Wonderful show. Teresa Autrey, she's at Keller Williams, 294-4210, 294-4210. Give your email address out. I always get that wrong. I want to make sure you get that right.
No, it's teresa.autrey@gmail.com. And we're on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. So we're everywhere.
And you're on Tony Kurre Radio, and you can listen to the show, of course, 5 days a week right here on TKR. Download the TKR app, like 100,000 folks have already done. And, of course, wherever you get your favorite podcast, and you can watch it right here on the Tony Kurre Radio YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Happy Valentine's Day. Wonderful show. I appreciate you.
You guys have some love. Go find your house.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.